bring the heart.
It's time to get loud.
Let's go! Because this is Betfred Super League.
Bring it on.
Got me here. It took a big chunk out of me. Bleeding. It's bleeding. Oh no, it's bleeding. The thing just ripped me ear off. What do you think?
Hello and welcome along to a special grand final edition of Eddie and Stevo the podcast, coming to you directly from Old Trafford, sponsored of course by our friends at Betfred. 2022 marked the 25th anniversary of Rugby League's greatest night of the year and featured of course St Helens, the reigning champions, and the Leeds Rhinos. Stevo and I were fortunate to be there again. We parked our car and headed off towards the stadium and bumped into some interesting people along the way. First up, the former Castleford Tigers player and now the star of the reality TV show Love Island, the one and only Jacques O'Neill. You got out of rugby league, Jacques, at the right time because nothing has spoiled the looks.
Oh, well, yeah, I'd say so. I've got a bit of a wobbly nose, but my nose has always been quite big, so it's not too bad. But
What have you been doing since? I know you left Castleford and went to the programme. What have you been doing since?
Since I got out there, mate, just trying to get myself right, to be honest. Literally taking every day by day. And I'm looking to get into sport, there's presenting and all that. And this is why I'm here today. I want to work close with Sky Sports and Rugby League especially. So
Back to Rugby League ever?
I don't know, not potentially, but it won't be anytime soon. It'll be a year or two, you get me? So if I'm going to go back, it wouldn't be anytime soon. So
was it a big decision to leave Cass and go to Love Island?
Of course it was. It was a big decision. All I've known since I was a kid is Rugby League, and all I've wanted to do is play Rugby League for the rest of my life. But I had a bad 18 months with injuries, and sometimes it messes with your head. And when a programme like that comes in and you think, well, why can't I not go have the best summer of my life then? It's quite hard to turn down when you know you're going to be out for the next year. So,
that's right. And you've got millions now of followers on social media, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a bit crazy. I only had about 15,000. I come out and now I've got 1.3 million, wow. So it's madness.
It is mad.
It's madness.
That's crazy. And what's it like on a programme like that? I know what it's like to do this.
Yeah.
This isn't work, by the way, Jacques. Don't think about that.
No, it's fine.
This is not work. This is a bit of fun. What's it like to do a programme like Love Island?
So doing a programme like Love Island, it's very different to what I thought. Obviously you went on and I thought I was just going on for fun, and then it just plays with your emotions. It really does. You're in a kept space, and so
who's going to win the big game?
Just on past and previous, and I'm going to have to say St Helens, just because of the experience they've got in the finals. They've been here for the past 3 years. It's 4th year here, but I'm hoping Leeds. I am hoping Leeds, to be honest. Change the name on the trophy.
They have never ever lost to St Helens in a grand final. This is the fifth.
Wow.
This is the 5th time that they've met in a grand final.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I know they're both on 8 trophies each, 8 grand finals each. So who's going to get the 9th?
And 4 in a row would be special for St Helens, wouldn't it?
Especially Christian Wolf leaving as well. So
emotions are going to play a huge
massively.
part.
So, but we'll see. We'll see, won't we?
Great to see you. Enjoy the grand final.
You too,
Thanks,
mate.
Jacques. Great to see you. Well, there we go. That was Jacques O'Neill, Stevo. Who have you got?
Over the years, there is one type of people in our game who I've never liked. But being a hooker, you never like referees. But I must say, this young man has gone to the top. I think he's one of the best referees we've ever had in this country. And that's saying something.
It is saying something from you. And we're talking, of course, about today's match referee. Liam, how are you looking forward to it?
I'm really looking forward to it, Eddie. It'll be a great game. It's the highlight of anyone's career doing the grand final, as you know. It's the biggest stage of them all.
the walkout at Old Trafford, just like players, referees live for these big moments.
Indeed. And when did you get the nod? You got the nod about Monday, Tuesday?
Tuesday afternoon, we got confirmed who was refereeing the game. So, like I said, it's a big honour for not only for me but for my family as well, who obviously support the ups and downs across a calendar year. So, but no, really honoured and great to walk out at Old Trafford, just like the players.
One of the highlights of your career, obviously, so far, and you're young enough, a lot more to come.
Definitely, yeah. I've been fortunate to do the challenge couple of times. It's my second grand final, but yeah, I think they get bigger every year, or they seem to.
We know, don't we, Stevo, how the players prepare, the diets and everything else. Referees, are you now in the zone? Have you now switched on? You're ready for this?
Yeah, the preparation's been done in the week. All the team's ready to go. It's just a case of getting in there now, match routines in place, warm-ups, get ready, soak in the atmosphere and literally get ready to go. As soon as that whistle goes, we're off.
I do hope that you are involved in the World Cup, because that's a wonderful situation to be in, because we need quality referees. And if you're going to referee the Australians, do your best.
The thing with Stevo is, this is your biggest day of the year, and he's already looking forward to the World Cup. This is the one, Liam, that matters. This is the one to all the fans that matters. I wonder, when I watch you guys, why on earth you do it. Thank God you do, because without you, there is no game. But you must take some stick during the course of the season.
My partner often asks me this question many times, but it's the same. It's the enjoyment. It's the buzz of being in the middle. I was never going to make it as a player, but the opportunity to be in the middle of Old Trafford, a major game, is that it's something that I absolutely love. It's the thrill, the adrenaline rush that you get from making decisions and being involved. You're part of the greatest game in the world, and I genuinely believe that. We're very fortunate to be part in the middle of the greatest game in the world.
But deep down, though, Eddie, it won't say it, but the amount of money that these referees are being paid, it's just amazing. I only found out a couple of months ago the amount of money they're paid. They fully deserve it, and I could have retired a lot earlier if I'd have been a referee, never mind a player.
Liam, you don't do it for the money, do you?
No, definitely not. I definitely don't. Otherwise I'd be a football referee, or definitely not. But no, I enjoy it. I love what I do, enjoy the role. Yeah, we have some ropey times as well, but days like today massively outweigh the ropey time.
And what do you think? The game should be a classic.
I hope so. I hope that it's a great game. We come off and the best team's won on the day. That's all you can hope for as a referee, isn't it? But you two have had more stick than I have so far anyway, so
absolutely,
I've done, especially Stevo, I've done okay.
Well, I've tipped golden point extra time. Can you fix that?
Definitely not.
Jacques ONeill and match referee Liam Moore outside the stadium. Well, we eventually got into the ground and we spoke just outside the Trafford suite, and we remembered the very first grand final 25 years ago in 1998. And back then, would you believe some people were saying it'd never work?
I know. And Jason Robinson, what about that try? I think that set it up for everybody. The sort of the game itself, it needed an injection. And we created Super League. We created Super League Grand Final, and I was so pleased when they brought it here to Manchester. This is the home of Super League for all the finals. Okay, we realise Wembley has got to be for the Challenge Cup. We can understand that. But you're right, and we still keep getting invited.
We do. And okay, look, we're talking before the game. We'll talk again after the game. Who do you think is going to win? Because everybody is saying St Helens, but Leeds have never lost to the Saints at this place.
Bygones, past records mean nothing, Andy. It means absolutely nothing. We're involved with Bedford. We're a gambling sort of situation. They're odds on to win. But we all know that the outsiders can come up on the rails and pip you at the post. I don't think that will occur. I think that Leeds have expired quite a lot of energy in getting here. Again, from 5th position. It's an amazing situation. They've done it before, so they know what to do. But St Helens, they have so many players who have got this experience. Leeds don't have that type of experience. Now, my mind goes back to last year when Saints played Catalans. St Helens tried to blast and blow away Catalans in the opening 15 minutes. And I think they lost a lot of energy. They got away with it. They beat them by 2 points in the end. But today, I think that the coach will say to them, we'll take it steady, we'll get field position, make our defence very solid, and the kicking game is going to be so important. It always is in our game, but I think that you'll see the kicking game from St Helens in the opening 10-15 minutes will be quite superb.
Well, we'll wait and see. We will see if your prediction comes true. I do think if Terry O'Connor, and we know he is carrying the trophy out, and his son Jared O'Connor is playing for the Leeds Rhinos, what a moment it will be for our old mate if it all comes off for him.
Yeah, we spoke to him about, an hour ago, and it is what we call in the north, he's chuffed. And so he should be. I think it's a wonderful honour. And what an occasion, he'll be walking out there with the trophy, and his son will be following out. I mean, you talk about pressure, but he seemed to handle it in the semi-final. That was no problem. He's really come to the forefront. And you've got to also say that Gary Hetherington, what a smart move he made. He flew out to Australia. No one knew who he was going to sign. Richard Agard had said that he wants to pass on the job, and said that they need a new voice. But boy, what a voice it's been! It's unbelievable. Look, Pete, I thought deserved the Coach of the Year, but listen, Smith couldn't be too far behind him. He just turned him around. There was one situation where if they'd have lost 2 on the trot, they could have been struggling to avoid relegation. Now, is that not down to the coach? It has to be. You've got to give him as much plaudits as possible.
Well, I know that he was, and I know that Leeds are long odds to win this comparatively to St Helens. I'll let you into a secret. I've got 3-1 that Terry O'Connor drops the trophy. What do you think?
I would have had a bet, even money. I don't think it's an outside bet. That is for sure. It's a very proud day for the family, and so it should be as well.
Indeed, and a great game which is to come in this grand final. Look, we've got a load more people to talk to before kick-off. Let's go in and enjoy it.
Yes, it's time to eat.
Well, needless to say, I've now left Stevo enjoying the food and the drink inside the Trafford suite, and I have been joined by a legend of the round ball game. Gary Owen is here from Manchester City, a Manchester City legend. I know you played for other clubs, Gary, but Manchester City is your team.
Absolutely.
What's the connection with rugby league?
Well, I'm a St Helens boy, born in a little fishing village called Clotface. And from the earliest days I can remember when I used to go watching rugby league, because it's a rugby league town, St Helens. And my dad played rugby, he played for Widnes. So I was brought up on Vollenhoven and Mantle and Killeen and Coslet and all those players, those great players. Obviously, Murphy as well, Alex Murphy, who became a friend of mine. And then as I've been growing up, I've always kept an eye on St Helens. When I could, I went to watch them. And then Roby and Paul Wellings, who's a big City fan.
He's massive Man City
fan. Yes,
fan.
I know his family, Paul Wellings and John Wilkin and Mark Flanagan. They all became my pals. But it's quite ironic, actually, because I went out for a few beers in Manchester with them after a City game. They all came to the game. And after the game, we went out to Manchester. And it was quite unique for me to be stood with them, who are obviously athletes, and look athletes as well. Nobody recognised them. That just shows you rugby league compared to the football, how different it is. And Manchester to St Helens is not far, and they're the top of the sport in wherever they play. And I was amazed that people didn't recognise the quality of those players, and it's a joy for me to be here today.
I call rugby league the greatest secret in sport that this country has got.
Absolutely, I agree with you. It's a great sport. I love to watch it. Again, I've been lucky over the past, 10 years, in my opinion. I've watched a fantastic footballing team in Manchester City, and I've been fortunate to watch a fantastic rugby team in St Helens, and I'm hoping that continues, because I could be witnessing history today, because as we all know, it could be 4 on the bounce, grand finals, and everything's crossed.
The problem for St Helens is they've never beaten Leeds here in 4 attempts, and if Leeds of any club don't want another club to win 4 in a row, it's the Rhinos.
Well, to be fair, I think Warrington can go in that category. I think Wigan can go into that category. Yes, but I think, the bookmakers are rarely wrong. That's why they're probably it's still in business. St Helens will start as favourites, and rightly so. But let's not take nothing away from Leeds. They had a dreadful start. They lost. I think they won 1 in the first 10. Then the last 13, they won 11.
Yes.
If the season would have started then, they would have topped the league. So you can see how competitive this game's going to be. And for me, I think everybody that's here today will have a great enjoyment, a sporting moment that will never be recaptured again. Because both teams, in my opinion, are on form. Either side can win. But if you're going to put me to the test, and I know you're going to answer me, I'm a little bit nervous, but St Helens will win.
A lot of people think that as well. Look, I know you're a Manchester City legend. I'll let you into a little secret. The producer of this podcast, the man who records it every week and edits it every week, who is doing that job right now, is my son Mark, and he is a manager at Man City Tours, and you've done Manchester City Tours, and you host at Manchester City, you host a lounge.
In the Citizens Lounge, every week for 11 years, so I thought I could blag it for 1 or 2 years, but to be able to do it for 11 years, I think I must be doing something right.
And you must enjoy that. I mean, it's great to meet people, isn't it?
It is a joy to be able to take it, I've got a daughter of 39 and I've got a boy of 7. Don't ask the questions, don't work out the maths. But he's so mad football, he's City, absolutely crazy.
He's known nothing but success.
The only thing he's ever known. It's a little like here at Old Trafford. Youngsters being brought up under Sir Alex Ferguson reign have only ever known success, and it's changed a bit now. So, a little bit of karma for us Blues. What goes round eventually comes round, we hope. And for the last 10 years with Pep Guardiola, the maestro of what he's done to our football club, and obviously with Sheikh Mansour, who not only for the football club, but he's creating jobs, he's creating living areas for the whole of east of Manchester. So Sheikh Mansour, as my wife said, I'm sorry, I know it's going on a bit, but when my wife said one time when she stood up at our wedding reception, which was 10 years ago now, she said, a man came into my life. As she stood, she never ever would speak at a wedding, but she got up, she said, I need to say this. A man came into my life and he's changed it completely. So, I never thought this would ever happen to me. So will you all raise your glasses? Sheikh Mansour.
Not to Gary Owen.
Yeah, I think she did one on our 10th anniversary, but this time it's to Pep Guardiola. So.
Fair enough, that's fair. Now look, Christian Wolfe is leaving the beloved St Helens.
Yes.
Is it Paul Welland's job with Sean Long?
Listen, Sean, what a great player, and what a man of steel. I don't know how many times. I mean, an humble man. I mean, St Helens have always been flamboyant. They've always played off the cuff, played with style, played with everything. But since he's been here, he's put a steel right the way through that team. So we're no pushovers. We still play with flair. We still play a bit flamboyant, but we've got that steel in us, and I'm hoping that will be the decisive factor in this game today. Because without doubt, in my opinion, this is going to be a very difficult game.
Gary, I must say, it is fantastic to talk to a former professional footballer who has a burning passion for this game.
Oh, absolutely.
I was a great football fan,
yeah.
Still am. It's the red side of Liverpool, so you're probably not going to speak to me anymore after this. But I have that passion. But for this game, for this sport of rugby league, it's given me everything. It is a fantastic sport, and this is going to be a great final.
I'm very fortunate. I've been invited by Betfred, and I thank them for inviting me here today, because without them I probably wouldn't be here. So for me to be here, this is a sporting occasion that I did not want to miss, and I'm not going to miss.
Go out and enjoy it.
I'm going to. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gary.
Cheers.
You.
Thank you.
Inside the room, as you can tell, there were personalities on just about every table. Great past players, including the great Ellery Hanley and Joe Lydon, the people who run the game. The two clubs were represented, of course, and it was a pleasure to bump into the coach of the Castleford Tigers, Lee Radford, who gave me his prediction of how the game would go.
It's a little bit of unknown, I think. Obviously Leeds have found a little bit leading into the game, and obviously St Helens are St Helens, so me thinking it says St Helens, but you never quite know. They've probably surpassed my expectations leading into the game of Leeds, so momentum's a funny thing.
It is, and I mean everybody at the moment is saying that. We will see what unfolds in the next 80 minutes. Can I say it's great to see you back in the game? I know that's so difficult, new coach coming in, turning things around. So near yet so far this year.
Yeah, we look. It was generally one of them when we've sat back and probably reviewed the season. we've looked back at it and maybe a little bit of what if. I think I can't stand making excuses, but we generally had zero spine for such a large part of the season, and I just think that's a real credit to the blokes that jumped in there and did a job for us. The likes of Greg Eden jumping off the wing, and Paul McShane was 7 or 8 games in the halves as well. I think it's more of a credit to them than it is a disappointment of the season, if that makes sense.
Well, there's something to build on, isn't there? I know you've got some new faces coming in, some big new faces.
Yeah, definitely. I think recruitment was obviously something. I think we brought 6 or 7 in last season. I think another 6 or 7 are going to come this year. I've already stated the fact that we probably want to try and lower the average age of the squad, so we've gone out and picked up 6 or 7 young blokes that hopefully have got a future in the game, and we're going to give them every opportunity to try and progress, because I think where we're lacking, or we have lacked previously in the academy in terms of bringing blokes through, we've got to try and sign that mid-tier type of English player, and thankfully we've got 1 or 2 of them coming in.
Indeed, and you've got some stars as well.
We have. They've not been announced yet, so I can't really talk about it. So
you can give the podcast a quick exclusive.
An exclusive.
Go on.
We've got 2 halves anyway. So
I think we can all guess who they are.
Yeah. So look, I think that was really important. That, again, the positions I've just mentioned in the spine. Niall Levels obviously went down for a long period of the season. We brought in Ryan Hampshire. He then went down. We lost him as well, and obviously our 6 and 7 went down as well. Then our third 6 goes down as well. So to have 2 blocks, and I think Salford's probably been an advertisement of that. The fact that they've had their spine on the field all year, the continuity and the difference it makes is you can't underestimate that from the outset. I think
it's a silly game, isn't it? It's a frustrating game. It's a nerve-shredding game.
Yeah, but we love it.
We do.
We love it, and we keep putting ourselves through the punishment.
And you must love it, because for 2 seasons or so you were out of it. And can I just say, face to face, I thought what happened to you at Hull was disgraceful.
Yeah.
To be sacked, Lee, on TV, on Sky that night. How have you bounced back? How have you kept your enthusiasm?
Yeah, it's a funny one. Obviously, it's a long one, but obviously I'd agreed to go to rugby union, and that was something. It was a challenge I was really looking forward. The challenge was obviously America. It's a country probably everybody wants to go and see a part of that world.
I'll be on the plane with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Dallas itself was a fantastic place to get to, and ironically, I had a couple of issues back here with a family with my boys. They're at 16 and 17, so they're just learning how to find their feet, and because of that, it became apparent I was going to go out there by myself. It was apparent I couldn't. It was only a 16-week season, and it was apparent I couldn't be out there for that long. It's not a 2-hour flight where you can jump back home and fix something. So I'm blaming them for not getting out there, pretty much in a nutshell. But it's. I'm glad I'm back in it. The environment, the people you work with every day, and we've got a good chemistry at the club, from the CEO to the owner to the physio and the masseur. There's some really good people there, and it's them people why we love the sport so much, I think.
Indeed so. I mean, look, I don't want to dwell on the past, but that night when that decision was taken in front of the television camp, how did you feel?
It was more shock, and it was more shock initially.
It was shock for you, it was shock for us.
Yeah, I think so. But my only concern that evening was my missus. My missus was at the game, and she never came to watch me play as a player first and foremost, and then never came to watch me as a coach. I think she'd maybe been to 5 or 6 games as a coach and as a player in finals. And that was because I forced her in, because everybody else's partners was going. So, ironically, for whatever reason, she came to that game. And
she's not coming again.
You should never see her at a rugby league game again. But it was, when we look back at it and talk about it, I can't say it was fate or it was meant to happen, but for whatever reason, it happened like that. Yeah.
And what happens like that makes you stronger.
100%, yeah. And better for the experience.
I'm sure you are. Look, next year, Castleford, Old Trafford. Wembley?
Yeah, that'd be amazing. But look, I want to build on what we've done. I think you get a lot of coaches that come in, it's a transitional period. This year wasn't a transitional period. I just wanted to improve on all the good work that had gone on previously. we had a crack at that. Unfortunately, a couple of injuries derailed us from probably getting to where we wanted to get to. But hopefully, this time around, we can be. I can be better for knowing the group, and they can be better for knowing me as well.
Lee, good guys can survive in this game. All the very best to you for 2023. You deserve all the success in the world.
No, I appreciate that, pal. Thank you very much. Top man.
Stevo, the news came through not too long ago that the Rugby Football League would have a new captain at the helm. Ralph Rimmer is packing in, and yet he's here today.
And so he should be. I think he's done a damn fine job in difficult circumstances. Remember that through the pandemic, a lot of sports were struggling. You cannot ask for anything better from this man.
Ralph, that sounds like a vote of confidence. Look out.
Yeah, they're always nice to you when they know you're going.
Yeah, well, I won't tell you what he's been saying behind your back.
Look, well, we did well in pandemic. We absolutely did, and since then, of course, we've managed to realign the sport governance-wise, bring in a big strategic partner, globally recognised partner, and we're going to finish up with some World Cups, and all of that kind of felt like a piece of work finished, and a World Cup, I think, is a natural stop-off place, and it gives me an ability to just control my exit, I suppose, and hopefully there'll be at least a couple of people that said I did okay.
Well, I think you did do okay, and everybody that we've spoken to thinks so as well. Was it a big decision to make? Because, blimey, you're not like us, we're two old fogies. You're a young man.
Well, I'm not that young. Yeah, it was a really big decision. I've been mixed up in the game all of my life, and it's like yourselves. It absolutely runs through my blood. It absolutely does. And the worst out of all the insults anybody can give me, it's you've done damage to the game. Forget anything else. That's the thing that hurts the most. And
people haven't said that, sure.
Of course they have along the way, but that's okay. So a really big decision, but I put a lot of thought into it. And I spoke to my chair at the start of the year. And I said, if I manage to realign the sport and do the IMG partnership, then I think the World Cup is the right place to stop up. It will be a new structure going forward from the 1st of January, and I think it's set up for success, and I don't want to overstay my welcome. So it just felt like the right time.
Well, that's fair enough. Can you give us some indication of what the new structure will look like? I mean, we have been speculating, haven't we, for quite a time, that the power leaves the clubs and goes to the people who govern the game. Was that, or is that right?
Well, the structure I'm talking about is the governance of the game. So there will be an RL commercial, and Frank Slevin's in here. He'll be the new chair, and there'll be the RFL, RL Gov, which takes care of England in all its different guises, community, and the regulation of the entire sport. And those two organisations work hand in hand. And realigning governance is probably the least sexy headline in the world, but it's the most important. We couldn't have brought. I knew we had to do that to bring a partner in, because that gives them some influence in how we go forward, and it's the most difficult thing to do. As you say, we've had three unanimous votes this year, and I've been sitting around that table since 1997 from various positions. That's 25 years. Another reason to step down. And I've never seen a unanimous vote on anything before this year.
You say you're going away from your position. Surely you're not going away from the game of rugby league. You've still got something to give.
Well, we'll have to see what comes out of the woodwork, I suppose. I got a job offer within an hour of announcing. John Wilkins sent me an email to say he needed a new head baker at Pot Kettle Black. So that would take away from the sport.
That's typical of Wilkins, by the way.
No, to be fair, that's a lot of dough.
I like that.
I tell you what, the old ones are the good ones.
And in actual fact, to be fair, he didn't actually offer me. He just said I could apply for it. So, look, I don't know where I'm going to go work-wise. I know I couldn't look for anything until it was announced. So I'm now beginning to look. So we'll see. But as I said to you before, it does run through my blood. It always has done. I was brought up in Cumbria. I was brought up around Barrows. I will always be on a touchline somewhere. Absolutely always.
It's a relief, though. I bet it's a relief to finally say it's someone else's baby. Off you go.
Yeah, there's two sides to that coin, but yes, and I think because I'd thought it out I'd put some considerable thought into it. So it may have been a surprise to other people, but it wasn't a surprise to me.
It's like me and him. I mean, I said, thank God he's going, and now look at us, we're back together again.
Exactly, so who knows?
Well, I'm speechless, although I can't believe that you said something nice about me for all those years.
No, I said, thank God you're going, and now look, you're back again.
On a serious note, Eddie and I, and especially being involved with Sky TV, we thank you for what you've done. You battled through, but a lot of people would have said it's too much for me. And I do hope in the future that you are not lost to our game of rugby league, because Eddie and I realise the amount of hard work that you've put into our game.
I hope you're not filling up, Ralph.
I'll be honest, I am emotional. I'm very emotional about it all. So I say, if you were two people that say I did a decent job, I'll settle for that.
Ralph, wherever life takes you, the very best of luck.
Thank you very much to both of you for today and for everything you did for me while I was working at the RFL.
Well, eventually the game got underway after all the talking and the handshaking in the Trafford suite. And after 40 minutes, the match was very much in the balance. So, half-time in a cracking grand final, and St Helens ahead by 12 points to 6. Stevo, that try for Leeds, right on the bell at half-time, at just the right moment.
Yeah, certainly they needed that, because it looked as though St Helens taking full control. The forwards had just taken it, they weren't panicking. The defence was pretty solid. But I must say that the Leeds coach Smith has done a fine job, because he threw out Lehman off the bench, and they're a different side. Lehman was taking control from a dummy half, etc. That's what Smith wanted, and it didn't surprise me that they came back, all right, with about 30 seconds left on the clock, but it was that man again, Lehman, put them back in the game.
St Helens dominated the first half, defended ferociously, attacked brilliantly. The first try, what a pass from Johnny Lomax.
It's a tremendous player. I'll be very surprised if he's not playing number 6 when England go into the World Cup. Is such a quality player. They'll be a bit disappointed, will St Helens, mainly by the fact that they knew that they were controlling the game. It was 2 silly penalties deep down against in the Leeds half that allowed the Leeds Rhinos to actually come back into the game. But as I say, magical move by the coach Smith. Putting on Leeming, he's been the difference. He could be the key player in the second half.
40 minutes to go. You're going to back a new horse. Is it going to be Leeds or is it going to be Saints?
No, I think that what is against Leeds at the moment is that they probably will start running out of juice. They've had to do it hard. They've had to do it all the way. They've played more games. It's the last 20 minutes in that second half that will be the difference. And if they can just keep that defence up. But one never knows. It takes one man to change a game, and his name was Leeming.
Great grand final so far. Second half to come. Well, the people you meet at a rugby league grand final. John Clark is here. He has come in from the dark side. Great to see you, John. How are you doing?
Yeah, great, great, Eddie. Me and the boss are here watching the final. We come last year. Brilliant occasion. Good game. It is a good game now. I thought it was going to be a bit of a runaway, but great finish to the half, and I think sets up a very exciting second half.
I know that Eddie Jones is a big fan of the game, but you have obviously educated him. He knows now a little about the nuances of rugby league, doesn't he?
He educated me. No, he loves it. He absolutely loves it. Obviously, my influence there, Martin Gleeson's, Anthony Seabold's, there's a big rugby league contingent there, so we talk about it all the time. We watch it a lot. It has a big influence on our game, particularly the way we defend, even the way we attack. So, it's the best game, isn't it? So, can't turn away from it for too long, Eddie.
I hope that the RFU aren't listening to this. You just said the best game, and you just said our game. Is all a big influence.
It is a big influence, and it's a very different game. I've absolutely loved going to rugby union, and now I understand it after 2 years. I really enjoy it now. I love rugby league. Love the big occasions like this. And it's obviously great second half. I think ready to go.
I saw Owen Farrell with his dad at Wembley about 2 or 3 years ago. I said, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? John Clark, former Warrington Wolf, When are you coming back?
Well, I'm definitely doing the World Cup next year.
For England Rugby Union?
For definite. Obviously I'm very privileged to do the last World Cup. It was one of the best occasions I've ever been involved in. So to do another is going to be sensational. And then after that, who knows?
Open to offers.
You never say never do.
You never do. So if England win the Rugby Union World Cup 2023, Rugby League will play a huge part in that victory.
Absolutely.
That'll do for us.
Thanks, Eddie.
So we settled back for the second half, and Saints, as we now know, went on to make Super League history and won their 4th consecutive title, brilliantly led by the man of the match, Johnny Lomax.
I thought Lomax was outstanding. The centre forwards were very, very strong. And it was something that I think a lot of people said to themselves, well, it's got to be a St Helens victory. And so it proved.
Well, we've said from minute one this season that St Helens were the favourites to lift the trophy, and so they did. Johnny Lomax got the man of the match, the Harry Sunderland Award, so he's joined your exclusive club. Apparently, we haven't seen it yet because we've been here, but on Sky Sports tonight, he has been battling, he says, an injury to his shoulder all year, and they have to make a decision now about whether he can play in the World Cup. And the feeling of the people who've spoken to him and what he has said is that he might miss the World Cup for England. That's a huge blow if that's the case.
Yeah, it is a huge blow because he's a player that has developed each single year. Quite often, when we call the stars of the game, they have maybe 1, 2, 3 seasons where they're really at the top of the game. But to me, Lomax has improved each season, slowly but surely. He's now got himself into a position where he can control the game. It's very rare you find a player that has that wonderful ability to be able to put himself in the position to make sure that the forwards, clockwork, moving, going into it, and in combination with James Roby. Now, James Roby looked to me as though he was in an armchair all the way through the game. I think he only made 2 runs from dummy half because he knew the ability was to get the ball out wide as quickly as possible so they can find the breaks out there. And it's very unusual for Roby not to be doing at least 10 runs from dummy half in the game. And that shows you that he has the confidence in the coach to be able to just say, just feed that ball. As I say, he appeared to be in an armchair all the way through the game. I think he only played the ball twice or maybe 3 times. That just shows you what a great player he is.
He is a great player. They are a great club. They've won 4 in a row, never been done before. History has been made. The problem for the club now is where do they go from here? Because Christian Wolff is leaving. How do they maintain this dynasty that they've got? But mind you, we said that when Justin Holbrook left, and we said that when Daniel Anderson left. Is it going to be Paul Wellens, do you think? I know you've spoken to Kel Coslet today after the match. Is it going to be Paul Wellens to take over the control, do you think?
I think it's going to be difficult for the people who are in control at St Helens, because when you look back on the success they've had, it's always been with Australian coaches. Now, it's going to take a big decision, in fact a huge decision, to give it to someone that has not got that Australian background. Now obviously Wellens has come through those wonderful coaches and is a very intelligent person, and I'm sure that he would have picked up a hell of a lot of information in regards to training, etc. and so forth, attitude to get the players in the right mood. What you've got to look is the fact that St Helens, a lot of people forget, is that they develop good youngsters coming through. We saw it tonight, that there was so many quality players who actually only came on for 10 or 15 minutes.
And they've come through the ranks.
Yeah, and that gives you the sort of understanding that, all right, Australian coaches, they understand the importance of making sure that they've got not just one hooker, they've got another hooker and probably a third hooker. You've got to get into a situation whereby we've got a very strong pack, but it'd be great if we had a stronger pack when we have 4 or 5 players on the touchline that we can bring in, because it's inevitable that there are so many injuries through a season. And I've always said that if you win the grand final, it's because you've got a great team, not because of the 13 that went out there in the first place, but because of your squad. And that has been evident through St Helens for the last 4 or 5 years.
And the last word in 2022 has got to go to the St Helens chairman, Eamon McManus, who must still be on cloud 9 after the win. 4 Super League titles in a row now. That must be beyond his wildest dreams.
Well, it is. It's something that you don't look forward to and expect to achieve in a game as competitive as this, against the number of Super League sides who are equally motivated as we are every year, starting afresh every year. And winning, I think, any big competition back-to-back is difficult in its own right, to remotivate, to reboot, to go again. So to do it 4 in a row is, something pretty special. Personally, to me, what I'm more proud of is we've won 10 championships now. In 25 years of Super League, it's 10. We've been to 14 grand finals. We've never missed a playoff. And that's what I want our club to be about, is actually contributing to our great sport at the top level, to keep standards at a certain level and make sure that others try to follow it and beat it. So I'm more than happy about that.
A lot of people said before this, if you won 4 in a row, this would be the greatest St Helens team in the Super League era. Would you agree with that?
Well, the facts say that, don't they?
The facts speak for themselves. What you've just gone through.
It is. I mean, everybody compares and contrasts and the like, but I think when Super League started and right the way through to now, if you said that someone would win 4 in a row, it would have been highly doubtful. Yeah, as I say, it's just a great honour and privilege for me to be associated with my hometown club, to be a part of this success. But I keep coming back to, the great thing about being successful is we're contributing to our sport. We want to set standards that others follow, look to attain and beat, whereby the whole sport benefits from it, to do our bit, basically, which I think we are.
I often get asked, why is St Helens so successful? My suggestion is that the development of youth coming through is not aimed at that particular season. It's aimed for the future, 3-4 years. And you look through your squad, not the ones that are just out on the field of play. You have got backup in nearly every single position. That surely has to be the reason why you've won 4 on the trot.
Very simply it is. That's been the policy of the club, not just in terms of producing success, but being a part of the fabric of the town. That's what people in our town want, that's what they demand, and that's what we provide. And to give young talent an opportunity to perform at the highest level, even though 1, 2, 3 years they may not be at the highest level, but you've got to give them the opportunity and not just buy success, is very much, as I say, it's embedded into the fabric of the club, and that's what we'll continue to do. We've got an Academy Grand Final tomorrow, and I'll be as proud of that team if they win it, and even if they don't, actually, as I have of the first team today, because we're looking for 2 or 3 from them to be here at Old Trafford in 2 or 3 years' time.
Listen, we've asked this question after Daniel Anderson.
Yep.
We've asked this question after Justin Holbrook.
Yep.
We're asking the question now after Christian Wolff.
Yep.
How do you follow this? How do you follow what has happened with the coach? Your coaches come and go.
Yep.
St Helens stay where they are.
Yep.
Top of the tree.
Yep.
Are you going to give this podcast the exclusive and tell us that Paul Wellens is your new coach in 2023?
No. Listen, kind of very simply, if you look to follow, you don't achieve. You just look ahead. This is done. It's finished. We're now looking ahead. We know who the new coach is going to be.
Come on.
We know who the new coach is going to be. And after our...
Is he an Aussie?
Is he an Aussie? Well, he's from somewhere in the world, definitely. Whether it be Australia or St Helens, possibly, I'm not quite sure.
Do you know, Owen, we've gone and spoken about the fact that your ability to bring youth coming through, you must feel very proud of the likes of James Roby.
Yeah.
I think he made 2, maybe 3 runs from dummy half.
Yep.
And that just shows you that the confidence that he has with his own players around him, he didn't have to take that control.
Yep.
He knew the had, but... And I'm so pleased that you're giving him another season.
With James Roby, we've said all the way along, it's not our decision whether you play again, it's your decision. James Roby would never conceive of playing a season too far, unless he's going to be playing at the very highest level and leading the team as he did today. He's such a person that he wouldn't even consider it. So it's, as I say, I wouldn't even say it's an easy decision on my part. It wasn't a decision, it was his, and rightly so.
The amazing thing is that now you've extended his contract. He may break the record that Kel Kozlik holds for playing for St Helens the most games.
That's the only reason that he has decided to carry on, is that he will take Kel Coslet's appearance record from him.
Well, I mean, Kel's a very close friend of mine,
I know
and you know, kind of, there'd be no one more pleased if James does that than Kel Coslet himself. And listen, we're in a different era with fewer games than when Kel did it. Not detracting from that, because you know yourself, Stevo, that was a tough era. You're playing twice a week, every week. It was unrelenting. So to get to that number of appearances during that period was amazing. To do it now is more than extraordinary. And relative to anybody else who's in Super League, is going to surpass it by, I don't know, but a lot.
Listen, many congratulations. It's been a fantastic year. I'm going to give you one last chance to tell us exclusively who's going to be your new coach in 2023.
Well, Alex Ferguson's thinking of a comeback. Maybe Sir Alf Ramsey.
Well, but you know who it is. You know.
Of course we do. Of course we do. But you know, it'd be wrong to say it now, because tonight's about Christian Wolff. The last 3 years have been about Christian. We'll have our end of season awards and dinner on Wednesday, and the baton will be passed on then.
Well, at the end of a season, the end of a Christian Wolff era, we'll see what happens in the future for the Saints. Of course, the immediate future is the World Cup. This is the end of our Super League podcast, but during the course of the World Cup, we will be back. We will be talking about England's chances. We've spoken about it many times over the past few weeks, but always great to see you face to face for a change. Normally it's just down the line, and right now we're going to head off into the sunset. We're going to celebrate St Helens' victory, and we'll be back at some stage during the World Cup.
As you say, we don't normally look face to face.
No.
But the one thing that is an advantage is that your breath doesn't smell when we're doing it by Zoom. Well, so that's an advantage.
It is. And by Zoom, we will do it again in the very near future. Stevo, great to see you. We'll talk very shortly. Okay, we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.